Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies. When you live in a poor neighborhood, you're living in an area where you have to have poor schools. When you have poor schools, you have poor teachers. When you have poor teachers, you get a poor education. When you get a poor education, you are destined to be a poor man and a poor woman the rest of your life. Poor education, you can only work on a poor-paying job. And that poor-paying job enables you to live again in a poor neighborhood. So it's a very vicious cycle. And usually these bad housing conditions result from the fact, as Mr. Gray has pointed out, of absentee landlords, people who are rich and live downtown and let you and I live up here in the shack. Actually, it's a form of 20th century slavery. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people. We're loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. But we are not nonviolent with anyone who is violent with us. And now that I have the independence of action, it's my intention to work with everybody or against everybody, whatever the case may be, to try and get some kind of immediate solution to the problems that are confronting our people. I still believe the best thing for us to do is go back home to Africa. But while we're getting ready to go back, we've got to eat now, we've got to sleep now, we have to have some clothes now, our children have to go to school, and we need some place to work. So whatever kind of action program can be devised to get us the things that are ours by right, then I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever is necessary to get that criminal off my back. And the injustice that has been inflicted upon Negroes in this country by Uncle Sam is criminal. Don't blame a cracker in Georgia for your injustices. The government is responsible for the injustices. The government can bring these injustices to halt.
If you say that you're fed up, if you teach the Negroes who don't even know their own name. Why? Because he took it away from them. Please. 20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you try to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today, you're coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in. And if somebody tries to take you right to the root of your problem, they say that that man's a hate teacher. If I ask why should the senators in Washington, and then again if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence. The white man is tricking you. He's trapping you. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in South Vietnam. Please. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in Berlin. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said, praise the Lord to pass the ammunition. But when someone attacks you, when someone comes at you with a club, when someone comes at you with a rope, when someone comes at you with a gun, despite the fact that you've done nothing, calls you, suffer peacefully. Pray for those who use you despitefully. Be long suffering. And how long can you suffer after suffering for 400 years?
To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary. I wanted you to know that my house was bombed. It was bombed by the Black Muslim movement upon the orders of Elijah Muhammad. Now, they had come around to, they had planned to do it from the front and the back so that I couldn't get out. They covered the front completely at the front door. Then they had come to the back, but instead of getting in directly in the back of the house and throwing it this way, they stood at a 45-degree angle and tossed it at the window, so it glanced and went onto the ground. And the fire hit the window, and it woke up my second oldest baby. But the fire burned on the outside of the house. But had that gone through that window, it would have fallen on a 6-year-old girl, a 4-year-old girl, and a 2-year-old girl. And I'm going to tell you, if it had done it, I'd taken my rifle and gone after anybody in sight. I would not wait. And I say that because of this. The police know the criminal operation of the Black Muslim movement because they have thoroughly infiltrated.
And now, an exclusive first look at the upcoming documentary, 7 a.m.
We are that age of children who will reap all the benefits of integration. Dr. Anderson, I'm 36 and I'm telling you, I don't see where those benefits were. Generational wealth, the legacy, the institutions, the organizations that white kids have or even Asian kids have. I have never had access to any of those kind of things. There's never been a similar type of structure for me. What happened to our inheritance?
You don't have an inheritance. That's a myth. If you don't have any wealth, what are you passing on? But see, we've spent most of our lives focusing politically on things that are non-inheritable. See, when the civil rights movement started, you talk about your integration years. Is your product of an integrated generation? What did your generation focus on? You focus on welfare, food stamp, public housing, okay, civil rights, social integration, preferential treatment, getting a job. How do you inherit those things? What's there to inherit? And a typical white person right now, as an example, wealthy, they live on 87% of their income comes from unearned income. They're getting it from unearned income. They're getting from Wall Street, from the stock market. They're getting it from rental payments, from property owned. They're getting it from trust accounts. They got unearned income coming. Where is your black unearned income? What's that? Food stamp, welfare, unemployment compensation. Where are you gonna get unearned income from? And they keep telling every black generation integrated into it that you can inherit something. What have you got to inherit? What black family is passing on into the resource, in the wealth to their children? And so that means that. So what I'm saying then is that every white child at birth, he hits this earth, in his community, in his church, in his family, in his neighborhood, in his school, in his race, with 87% of what he needs to be successful in life. He can reach out, unlike you just said, at any time and touch what he wants. He can go down the street and find banks. He can go find people that's in business. He can get cousins and relatives as professional people. He can touch it anytime he wants to. The average white kid comes in with 87% of what he needs. You as a black person, you come in with zero. You come in with zero. You got to compete against a white child that has 87%. You come in with zero. So what they're going to tell you is that that's okay. You just got to run fast and jump higher. And that's not fair to black children. Black people have to learn that you gotta start developing the wealth and resources and passing it on to these children so they can be at least competitive. And quit focusing on this waste of time stuff about something that's irrelevant that you can't measure. Oh, I'm leaving my kids some hope. I'm giving him with a good mind. I'm giving him with the blessing of a family. Now, all that stuff. No, he needs something to compete against that guy that got 87%.
And now, an exclusive first look at the upcoming documentary, 7 a.m.
Because true economic science is a branch of military science. War and money go hand in hand. Most wars are fought so people can make more money, and war is money. So that means what? That the European American is not about to prepare black children to compete with his children for control of the economic sector. It's not going to happen. So if black people want this science, we got to teach it, we got to study it, and we're going to have to make some mistakes in perfecting it because we're still babies in the water of global economic commerce. As African people, we are financially illiterate. So we should not be surprised that we're so economically backward because we were never taught how to be economically forward. Our education in America has not provided or prepared us to be able to compete with Europeans economically. The historically black college was designed to do what? Teach you how to work for white people. Public schools, charter schools, parochial schools, independent schools. What is the purpose of education in America for black children right now? To teach them how to make a living working for white people. But I don't want the kids coming to my school to be going to class thinking that I'm learning this so I can go and get paid by a white person. They're going to be empowered to start their own business. When they leave that school, they're going to go into business. Now, why do we need our people to be self-sufficient? Because when you're not self-sufficient, you can't speak your mind. One of the biggest reasons why black people have been so cowardly in the post-civil rights movement, not standing up for ourselves, standing up for our children, standing up against police brutality. We're scared to lose our jobs. We have to work. We got kids. I can't talk about the racism on my job. I might lose it. So the reason why we're not speaking our mind is because we don't have economic freedom. As Mr. Garvey said, Marcus Garvey said, that a solid racial program must be built on a solid economic foundation. Show me your economic condition, and I'll show you your political condition. The political economy of the black community rests on the premise that because they do not make their own money, they are enslaved to Europeans. And as a result of that, they will never be able to do what needs to be done to carve out a future for their children. Because the hand that pays is also the hand that rules.
African American people have been constantly looking for the rules in America. Our whole experience here, we want to know what are the rules to be accepted by the dominant society? What are the rules to not experience racism in America? And every time we learn one rule, we're told those rules don't apply and there's another rule. When African Americans were first dropped off from the slave ships, we said, okay, what do we need to do to be accepted by the dominant society? We were told, well, if you change your name from those African names, we'll accept you then. So African people said, okay, we'll change our names. Can we be accepted? They said, well, no, not quite, because now you're using that voodoo and that African religion. If you take on our religion, then we'll accept you. So black people said, well, that's not a problem. I mean, we're familiar with Christianity because we have a version of that in Africa. The whole European Jesus thing, that's a new thing for us. But if you'll accept us and you'll lay off the racism, no problem. We'll be better Christians than you. Can we be accepted? The dominant society said, well, no, not quite, because now that African voodoo is still there. So maybe if you weren't so lazy, we'll accept you. So black people said, okay, well, we're slaves. Nobody works harder than a slave. We pick all this cotton, we do all this work. Nobody works harder than us. Can we be accepted? So the dominant society said, well, no, because now slavery is over and we don't need your work no more. So black people said, okay, well, how about hiring us since we have all the skills? The dominant society said, well, no, not quite, because we have white-only unions, so we don't need that. So African-American people said, okay, well, look, how about we just build our own communities? We'll build our Tulsa, Oklahomas, our Central Avenues in Los Angeles. We'll build our own prosperous communities, and we'll just leave you be. How about that? The dominant society said, well, no, you can't do that because now you're making a little more money than us and now you're becoming a threat, so we're going to burn those whole communities down. So black people said, okay, how about this? We'll work for you. Just hire us. We'll keep our heads up. We'll have dignity. Will you accept us? The dominant society said, well, no, because you're being uppity now. We don't want uppity black folks. So black people said, okay, well, how about this? We'll just shuck and jive. We'll be entertainment for you. We'll tap dance, skin and grin, coon, do whatever. Can we be accepted? The dominant society said, well, we love the entertainment part of you, but we can't really respect that, so we won't accept you. So black people said, well, we'll just drop out completely. We won't even try to be accepted by you. We'll just hang out on the corner. We won't even try to become part of the dominant society. We'll just hang out in front of the liquor store. If we see something we like, we'll take it. We'll just do our thing. The dominant society said, well, no, you do that, we're going to arrest you. So black people said, okay, well, how about we just go in the house? We'll just get crumbs from you. We'll just stay in the house and watch TV because that way we can escape racism. But the thing is, when you look at television, what do you see? Negative image, negative image, negative image, negative image of African-American people. So the bottom line is there are no rules for the dominant society to accept black people as a whole. All the rules are there to keep you marginalized. And that brings us to rule number 1. Keep people confused as to what racism is.
Welcome, black brothers and sisters. This is your brother B. Washington, better known as Bartholomew Washington, broadcasting live. It's a lot of things on my mind that I like to talk about. But first, I'd like to give a black shout out to Tariq Nasheed for his Hidden Colors 3. Very successful. Hidden Colors 3, The Rules of Racism. If you haven't got it, support my brother Tariq Nasheed and get it. Order 2 or 3, 4 or 5. Order more than one. Because if you have children, this is what you need to have, just like a book collection. Have it for them. When they get old enough, you play that DVD, put it in, and you teach your children. About the rules of racism. Very good documentary. I have it. Breaks down the rules of racism. Actually, I think Hidden Colors 3 is better than 2 and 1. 1 and 2 is good, but 3, it just breaks, it gets in depth. I mean, just support my man, Tariq Nasheed. I mean, this documentary that every black people should have in their home, and for they sit their children down so they can watch it instead of watching foolishness on TV. Sit your children down, pop in that DVD, Hidden Colors 3, and make sure they watch it and they learn something from it, because this is war. White supremacy is on a war path. And it's not their first time be on a warpath. I mean, it just haven't changed. It just got worse now. But they're on a warpath with black people in general, period. Then the other clip you saw or heard, Dr. Clark Anderson and Umar Johnson, that's in the 7 a.m. documentary produced and directed by Jason Black, that's coming out real soon. I suggest you support my brother Jason Black when his documentary come out, because I'm definitely going to be the first one to get it. Yes, 7 a.m. movie documentary. So I have shut out a big black shout out to Jason Black and Umar Johnson for getting the FDMG Academy. I think I haven't did the update on it, but I think he's getting close to getting to college. The FDMG Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy for Black Boys. And this brother is doing work. And I'm talking about work. He's not just talking, he's working. And this brother is doing all he can. And we definitely need to support Umar for the academy. It's got Lawrenceville, Virginia. It's a historical college. That is well deserved to be given to Umar Johnson. He deserves that. He has prepared, getting ready. Very deserved. This is the college. It's the Black College Academy to teach our young black boys and girls, but especially our black boys, because they are getting killed and murdered in these streets, unarmed, by white terrorism and by these white mob attacks, white vigilantes. I mean, it's getting very serious. I mean, just, it's history just repeating itself. I really don't see any change, because history is repeating itself from the 1960s. See, those who don't know, those who don't understand the lessons of history is doomed to repeat itself. We haven't learned the lessons of history, of the past history, but we'll keep repeating the same history. Inappropriate behavior. And we're the only people this continue to be happening to us. Why this isn't happening in the Asian community? Why is this not happening to the Arab community or anybody else? Why? You're never seen on the news where a white cop gunned down an Asian teenager boy. You never seen on the news where a white cop gunned down an unarmed Arab teenager boy. You never seen on the news the white cop gun down, shoot down an unarmed Spanish teenager boy. I haven't seen it, but you ask your question, you ask yourself why that is not happening to them. Because they have a community. They have power, they have wealth, and influence. Like my man Jason Black say, you have power, wealth, and influence. They have that. They have an economic base. They have economic power. As a black society, we do not have a community at all. We don't have a community. Don't even have a neighborhood, to be honest. Don't even have a neighborhood. We don't have a community. We don't even have a territory no more. We don't own the people, let other people come in, set up their little small businesses in a so-called, quote-unquote, so-called black community. And we do not have a black community. Because if we really had a black community, it's no way outsiders can come in and set up small businesses and sell you junk. Sell you trash, and you patronize them. No matter how bad they talk to you. What kind of respect do you get as a people when you allow other people to come up in your territory and set up shop in a niche, and you patronize your dollars? You don't get no respect. And that's why these things will keep happening. That's why it's keep happening. W. Du Bois said this: to be a poor man is hard, but to be a poor race, that's hardship. Let me say this again. W.E.B. Du Bois said, to be a poor man is hard, but to be a poor race in a land of dollars, that's hardship. In a land of dollars. To be a man is poor, but be a race that's poor in a land of dollars. See, you don't have any businesses or institutions where you don't own, control, and resources. You don't own the resources. You don't own water production. You don't own the electric company. When you don't have your own transportation system. When you don't have your own institutions, your own school. When you don't control and own these things. This is the type of situation that happens. This type of situation that happened to a people. Now you can have your white mob attacks, your white vigilantes, and your white mob attacks, your white terrorism come in your neighborhood and do what they want to do and shoot your son down, cold-blooded, unarmed. Your unarmed son come in there, they can come in there and shoot him down and kill him and murder, shoot your daughter. Beat your mother, choke your father, kill your baby, kill your son, kill your daughter. when you do not have a community, everybody is freely to do what they want to do to you. When you don't have any economic power, when you allow yourself to live in poverty, or you like living in poverty, because you know, when you used to and dependent on white folks to take care of you, you dependent on white people to do this for you, dependent on white people to do that for you, dependent on white people to give you justice, you depend on white people to give you quality. Black people, when we gonna learn? When we gonna learn to free ourselves from white people? Don't any other people. When we gonna learn all we got is each other? When we gonna learn that? From Oscar Grant to Michael Brown just recently. Michael Brown, another unarmed teenager, gunned down by white cops or Ku Klux Klan. From Oscar Grant to Michael Brown. Black people have not responded. Where are these hotels and the homo thugs and the gangsters and the killers? Where are they? Oh, they're not around. Oh, they do be around. White men come in their presence. They turn into boys. See, black males love to pretend and show off with one another. But when white men come along, oh no, they turn into little boys. But see, when they raised by these mammies, because if mammy, that's all she know and respect is white daddy and white father, she teaches her son. Every white man that you see, that's your daddy. You better not say nothing or do nothing against. Until you got a bunch of grown, supposed to be black men. They're not. They're just boys. Especially under the system of white supremacy. Boys. Either you're going to be boys or imitation females. That's all. Because under white men, you're going to be boys. Either you're going to be boys or either you're going to be imitation females. You can't be men. Inappropriate behavior. Where are the whole hotel? Black woman is God. Black woman is queen. And you've been lately, black females getting beat and killed and shot by white cops. Where are you? You love your black queen. And black woman is God. But yet, y'all not protecting these black females, though. Because every time the situation's been happening, week after week now, you hotel Negroes will never be around. And then these black males raised by single mothers, they're not going to do anything because they're raised by single mothers. And the average black female single mothers, they bow down to white supremacy. They don't have power. So they teach their sons to bow down to every white man and woman. That's that plantation mentality, and it hasn't changed. That's the same plantation mentality. The Negro bed wench The white slave master. That's that white slave master and Negro bed wench relationship. That slave and slave master relationship. White slave master make the Negro bed wench breed another slave. Make her breed another slave and another slave. If it's a boy, the Negro wench will hand her son over to her master, and the white slave master would take the boy, the young buck, as they used to call him, young buck, the Negro, the young buck, strong, sterile, use him for labor. Because that's all the Negro wench was to the white slave master, was for breeding. Breeding a slave, breeding more slaves, breeding more slaves. If it's a boy she having, white slave master need that labor. And they use the young buck for that free labor. Nothing else. It haven't changed. The same plantation. Only difference, it's not physically enslaved no more. It's a psychological slave. So now you have your average single black females. They raise these boys to only to bow down to every white man and white woman they see, but to hate every black person that looks like them. Where's these hardcore killers, or the hotel, F the cracker, F the devil? Where are they? They hate the devil, they hate the cracker so much. Where are they not around to protect these black females? Where was they? Where are they when this black female was drugged out from her apartment, naked, and she was pregnant? Where was the hotel? What was the cracker and white devil haters at? Where were they? See, majority of black males ain't gonna do nothing but talk loud, show off, whore attention. They're not gonna do nothing. They're not gonna do nothing. When the presence of white men come around, they don't do nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing. And the average black females that raise these boys, then by the time they get teenagers in their 20s or get older, they ain't no good. They can't protect you. They can't protect their own mama. But see, the reason why we get treated the way we get treated, and we haven't learned 60 years, 60, 70 years, that we must have an economic base. We must form an economy. We do not have a community. It's just like open, just reservations. That's all we on. It's just like we just reservations. Anybody can come in and do what they want to do to us. Where's our power base? Where's our political power base at? We don't have none. What do we own? What do we control? We don't even own or control the necessities that, people live on everyday life, like water, electric, technology. We know nothing about that. We don't know how to control it. We don't even know how to get started. Because we so used to white people depending on white people, depending on white people to do this, white people to do that, white people to do this, white people to bring this to us, white people to help us, white people to do this, everything white people. Then white people don't have nothing to do with you no more. You're on your own now. What are you going to do, black people? What are you going to do? That's why as black people we get treated the way we get treated, like children, like little boys and girls. That's why I said we ain't left the plantation. Yeah, body-wise, physically we left the plantation, but psychologically we haven't left the plantation. We still suffered it psychologically, a slave. Don't want to leave the plantation. We got to depend on massa. We got to depend on massa for a job, massa for welfare. We got to depend on massa for housing. We got to depend on mass to protect us from cops. White people ain't gonna protect us, black people. White folks is not gonna protect you. They gonna use you to get what they can get for as wealth and power. They get selected Negroes, showcasing. Thank you, Nellie Fuller. It's called racial showcasing. They might pick a few Negroes they select and showcase them and use them for a while. Then when they get tired of a Negro, they crush them. They don't need them no more. As black people, when are we gonna wake up? When are we ever gonna get it? What, until they just keep gunning us down? Lynching us? The modern day 21st century lynching, that's what it is. This is a modern day 21st century lynching. They don't use the noose no more. They stranglehold you. They don't wear the white sheets. They wear uniforms. They don't ride on horses. They ride cars. They lynching you. They're lynching us by shooting and strangleholding and choking and shooting and gunning us down, gunning unarmed. But when you don't have a community, when you don't have any businesses and institutions, when your community look like reservations, ghetto, hood, you don't own, control nothing in your hood, expect this to keep happening. These white mob attacks, not just cops, but like the George Zimmermans and the Michael Summons and these white vigilantes, just white men, particularly, period, a white racist white man, expect this is going to happen and keep happening and keep happening. So black folks don't want no black economic empowerment. Well, goddamn it, at least fight back. At least fight back. Don't just stand there. I'm not advocating violence, but goddamn it, Malcolm said, anybody put their hands on you, you do your best to try to put them out. Put up to the grave. You feel like you're being violated? You're unarmed, you didn't do nothing? Then you got a bunch of black folks standing around, it just standing around whining and crying, and you got black males whining and crying. It ain't doing nothing. Not doing nothing. Do something. At least do something. You don't want no economic empowerment. Majority of black males don't want an economic empowerment, which that's the only solution. Well, at least if you're gonna do something, put your hands on these cops. That's what you do. But when you got a bunch of black males raised by black females who are whores and sluts, bed wenching, this is what happens. They produce black males that can't defend their own women. This what happens. They can't even defend their own females because they was raised by females who bow down only to white people. So they taught this to their children to only bow down to white people. Depend on white people. Depend on white men. Depend on white women. Hate blackness, but love whiteness and any other non-white. But blackness, no. Kill it. And you got all these black males just loud mouth blah, 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 and not gonna do anything. Unless it's to one another, yes. And that's why it's keep happening. This is why it's keep happening. This is why white men, white racist men can come in and shoot and kill black females and young black teenager black males. And this is why these mob attacks from these white terrorism, white cops can just shoot and gun down unarmed black teenager boys and choke black men that's unarmed because we haven't responded with nothing. Decade after decade, year after year, month after month, funeral after funeral, funeral after funeral, counter lights after counter lights, RIP after RIP, t-shirts RIP with dead pictures, dead family members, RIP, funerals, crying over the casket. No justice, no peace signs. And we haven't yet to respond. That's all we can respond with. Petitions. That's all we can respond with. Petitions. No bloodshed. You got to at least shed some kind of bloodshed. At least. Hell, look at the war in Gaza war. Look at the Israelis and the Palestinians. They ain't backing down from one another. We're not responding properly at all. You don't supposed to let nothing like this happen to your people. And we supposed to be black men. You ain't supposed to allow this happen to your women and your children. I'm talking about these grown black men who are supposed to be men. You ain't supposed to allow this to happen to your women and your black children, your black women. But these supposed to be the hotep guys. And these the gangsters. These are the type of males that don't own and control nothing anyway. What power do they have? Hotel power? Umar Rapata? Cosmetic power? What these homos have? I got swag power. I got a little 9mm power. That's your power. As soon as white men come in your presence, you become boys real fast. Sorry, this is my first broadcast, but I'm just saying some things that's on my mind, which is not a surprise. This is not a surprise. This is not a surprise. This has been going on since that civil rights generation. Those who don't understand the lessons of history is doomed to repeat itself. It's doomed to repeat itself. And it's repeating itself over and over and over and over. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey said what we need to do. Malcolm then said what we need to do. Amos Wilson, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Claude Anderson, Tariq Nasheed, Jason Black, Umar Johnson. What the solution is to build an economy. The dollar's gonna talk. The power of the money, the mighty dollar talks. That's the power. The power of the mighty dollar is that dude's the talking. If you don't have an economy of economic base, you don't own and control anything of value, of visible, of visiality, visible, tangible, of value, and you don't have a community, and all you got is a ghetto, hood, when you spend annual disposable income out of your neighborhood, only 2% stay in the black neighborhood. The other 5% in the black neighborhood goes to non-black people's hands in their small businesses, and the other 95% of that money goes to white businesses. You see? And only 2% stays in the black neighborhood. But the other 5% that's in the black neighborhood, that disposable income, you spend it with non-blacks. That's in your hood. We are economically and politically immature. We don't know a damn thing about politics. We don't know a damn thing about economics. We don't even understand money. We don't even know how to use our money. See, Umar Johnson can't be the only black man by himself to get a college. Other black men got to follow up. We're going to need more than just one black college owned by a black man. Umar Johnson, that one college, that's a start, but he can't be the only one by himself. There's got to be many more black men that got to step up and say, you know what? It's time to take control of our own schools. If Umar can do it, we can do it as black men. It's going to take more than Umar Johnson. It's going to take more than just Jason Black with his documentary. They got cameras out there that you can get cheap, good quality cameras, video cameras. Why not make your own movies? Create your own documentary. Tell it our own story. Stop complaining, black males, about white folks and what they doing, and this ain't the movie. They're lying in the store. This ain't how. Stop complaining and go get your video camera. Buy your own video. They got good quality for a nice, decent price. And video your camera, your own movie, your own documentary. Just like Jason Black did. But he can't be the only one. Same thing with Tariq Nasheed. He can't be the only one. He put out Hidden Colors 1, Hidden Colors 2, Hidden Colors 3. And it's time for other black men to follow up. And soon, and to be honest, sooner or later, I'll do my own documentary. This is a lot of projects I'm working on. It's crazy. I got so many other projects I got in mind and set up. I don't know which way to start, you know. It's time for, as black men, if we're going to call ourselves men, we got to start creating and building and producing we must acquire power. We must acquire wealth. But to see the problem, majority of black males, they weren't about chasing draws. They weren't about whore attention, getting whore's attention. They weren't about getting female attention. If they can't get a female attention, they're going to make some kind of attention. Not to show out. And to be honest, majority of black males want black females to lead. Black males don't want to lead. Let's see, these are the guys that are raised by single mothers. See, they used to female leading. They depend on a female. If they can't depend on a white man, I depend on my mama. I depend on my gal to give me these things. I depend on my black queen. And you think any female gonna respect a man like that? She might pretend like it, but at the end of the day or night, she don't want your ass no more. Because you're weak. Majority of black males are weak. And I'm not just saying this to be saying it. I used to be one of them weak guys. I've been around majority of these dudes. They have nothing in life. They don't want to do nothing in life. That show off to one another. Oh, we have the balls and the nuts when it comes to dealing with each other. But when white men and these racist white men come into presence, we don't do a goddamn thing. But when it comes to another black guy, oh yeah, you kill. Oh yeah, I will kill a nigga over my female. That was the nigga wood best for my gal. But then white cops and white men come around and manhandle your mammy and your gal, you don't do nothing. But when a black man tell the truth about a black female, you ready to want to kill or threaten another black man for telling the truth. Just tell them the truth. But when you have these white mob attack, these white men, racist men, that come do your mammy, your grandmammy, and your gal, the way they want to do to your gal, your mammy, your grandmammy, and you don't do nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. Damn you. You sure don't get my respect. But it goes back. You don't have a community. You got a bunch of black males. They don't own and don't control. Haven't built nothing. When you really don't have real men in there. When you don't have men to lead, to be the protectors, all hope is gone. You expect your female to lead. So you got your black feminists. They're the handmaidens of white supremacy. You got your coons and the buffoons. They're the handmaidens of white supremacy. You got your racial showcasing all over. These are Negroes being showcased by white supremacy. These are Negroes is not a threat. And this is what they love. They don't want another Malcolm X. They don't want another Marcus Garvey. They don't want another Nat Turner. Mark Delaney. They don't want another them type of black men like that. Ever. But I hate to break the news to them. You might kill one, you might kill two. But there are many more being born. You think you can stop some, but you can't stop all. They off Malcolm. They off King. They destroy the Black Panther movement. But there's always somewhere down the line, there's a black man being born. There's always a spread out space somewhere. Now you got Umar, you got Jason Black, now you got Tariq Nasheed. And I guess these white men is like, damn it, I thought we killed all the Negroes. Where are these Negroes coming from? We don't want these type of Negroes. We don't want these type of black men like these. We want the compromise, and we want the effeminized and miseducated. These the type of black males we want. We don't want them Tariq Nasheeds and the Jason Blacks and the Umar Johnsons. So what do white supremacy do? They send their black feminists out there. They send the coons out there. They send the Negro puppets out there, the pork chop politician. To go after these black men. White supremacy ain't gonna handle that. That's just too. You gotta deal with real black men like Tariq, Umar, and Jason. No, they're gonna send the black feminists out there. They're gonna send the coons and the buffoons and the sambos and the gumbo Negroes to handle. You go out there and handle them niggas. You handle them. That's you'll go handle that. It's time to develop a true sense of community. We do not have a competitive community. We do not have a competitive community. We do not have any group vision. See, in society, through historically, in society, it's three institutions that serves as pillars: the family, the church, and the community. See, true communities are communities of mind and physical structures within a space. As black people, we do not have a solid foundation of a community. Now, for black folks that love the Bible, I don't have nothing against the Bible. I'm not a religious person. I got a Bible. And I see the Bible as a tool on a perspective that gives conceptions, not for exactly for what it says, but it's looking through and understanding conceptions, the context of what's in the Bible. Because all the Bible is dealing with economic science and political science. That's all it is. That's my opinion. The Bible deals with political science and economic science, basically. And majority of the Bible is dealing with economics. But see, like Moses, he began to build physical communities and maintain a strong sense of community. See, Moses used his vision of the promised land to mobilize his people for a 40-year journey to a land upon which Jews built functional communities, families and religious institutions, commerce, schools, and strong sense of a community. Moses used his vision for black folks that quote unquote know the Bible and love the Lord. Could seems like the Jews have a better understanding than the Bible than black people claim to understand the Bible. Let's see, the Jews got more understanding of what the prophets was doing with Jesus and Moses and Noah. They understand it from an economic standard. That's how the Jews understand the Bible, from an economic standard. They understand it from an economic standard first, then through political, then the religious, and family, and building a functional community. They don't see it as the Bible first, religion first. They see it as an economic first, then political, then the family. Every other race see that. I don't care what religious belief they are. Every other race of ethnic group understand the economy starts first. Building the economy, building a community starts first. Having power, wealth starts first. Then they get in politics. And once they get in politics, they can control, they can get political power. Then they can get, once they get into political power and they control the politicians, black or white, they control their politicians to do what? Do their dollars. They control their politicians, do their dollars. They control the politicians, do their dollars. They control their politicians, the politicians do the dirty work. They go out, they go to the court system and law enforcement and put them in check. That's how you stop these goddamn bastards from gunning your teenager boys gunning and beating up black females and shooting every unarmed black teenager boy down. The dollar talks. If we ain't gonna fight or show any bloodshed, at least you should fight with, use your dollars. If we ain't gonna put our hands with that cowardly that we can't shed no bloodshed, fight with your dollars. But no, majority of black males, that's too much work. They think that's too much time and energy. I prefer to go to the club. I prefer to chase hoes. Damn, building a community. And that's why a majority of you are getting murdered off. Your sons, unarmed, getting murdered any time of the day and night. And these bastards can get away with it because we practice inappropriate behavior. One, the immigrants that come here to America, they're seeking territory or communities. They come here, they practice to seek territories. This ain't nothing new. The Europeans that migrated to America, same thing. From the 18 and 1900s, they were seeking territory. It haven't changed. It's not going to change. It's going to be more and more immigrants coming in, seeking territory. And the main target is black. Well, everywhere black people at in the urban areas, that's their target. Territory. Every target they looking at is every black neighborhood, urban city. That's their territory. They seeking territory. And they're not coming to this country to be your friends or anybody else's friends. They come here to get ahead economically and to find wealth and fortune. And they don't mind competing in anybody and whoever. Economically and politically. In the behalf of themselves and their families. In their native countries. And the more immigrants come in, they take advantage of opportunities. See, I done talked to older Negroes. You know what the excuse they'll tell me? Well, the reason why they got this because of the government. The government. That's a lie. You know how they get these stores and these gas stations? Through your money, Negro. That's how they get these business and this small business. Through your money. They get government assistance. The government is not giving them that kind of damn money. They give them a little loan. And they're gonna pay their loan easily. You know how they're gonna pay their loan back easily? Through our money. Yeah, the government help them out a little bit. But they also got to pay back too. So they say, okay, we can pay that. No, the target, they know where the target at. And white supremacists are pretty sure told them, well, if you want to make you some money, you go in the black areas. It's the same damn thing like in slavery. When Europeans migrated to America, the white Americans say the Catholic Church, when he told the Europeans stop fighting with one another, I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. If you want free labor, if you want free land and wealth and fortune, you go to America. They told him where you get the free labor, which was Africans, free land, because they got the free labor. They got to have labor, so they got free labor. Then they got the land. So without labor, you can't really have the land. You got to have somebody to labor the land. So they have free labor and you have land. And every European immigrant just came in flukes flushing in America to enslave, because they know Africans were free labor. But it was the same thing with the European immigrants. It's like a loan. They had to pay back. That was the game that's the capitalism. That's the capitalism game that England was running. So the only way we're going to defeat, well, the only way we're going to fight back against white supremacy is through economic empowerment. That's the only way. That's the only solution. It's not by spirituality. It's not by talking loud. It's not by holding your fists up. It's not about debating. It's all about economic empowerment, controlling and owning the resources, institutions, building up your communities. Try to trust one another. That's the only solution to this racism, point blank, period. Point blank, period. Brothers and sisters, let me take me a break. I will be back. This is B. Washington, better known as Bartholomew Washington. I will be back in a little bit. Meanwhile, let me put in
Thank you very much for that, much appreciated introduction.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
I'll get a feedback here. Can y'all hear me okay? I know I take this a great trepidation to be following behind Don Williams on anything. Everybody say we look alike, but we're not. I know whites like we're all black folk look alike, but we're not. And Don Williams has absolutely no kinship to me. It is customary at any auspicious occasion such as this one to recognize those individuals who are particularly germane to the occasion. So I take this opportunity to represent and speak to those people who are most important here today. That's all of you all that are here, sitting here. Let me say good afternoon to each and every one of you, both individually and collectively. And I also want to express my profound gratitude to Don Williams for having invited me to the